Getting a little more familiar. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Uh, let's go to the actual page where this is on so I can get the chat. Perfectly. All right. I'm changing up my setup just a little bit. I've got my computer here so I can see the chat that's going on there. I've got my controls right here, and then I got the big screen right there. I'm going to do something for you guys in my back. I need to put some stuff back there. You know, I love the star, but there's got to be some stuff back there. But hello. Welcome to Shango Live for the Monday before free agency, and I've been up since like 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock, because I got up real early because I'm thinking about what out of all these names, because we're hearing a lot of names out there, a lot of big names out there that could really help us at this point, and we're listening to all this stuff, and I'm thinking, what do we need the most? One, and number two, I'm thinking, how are we going to pull this off? And that's the main thing that's going through my head for the last 24 hours, because if you know, I made a video. Let me first of all let me start social networking this thing out, because we're gonna get down into some really interesting things that could affect our football team for a real long time. Let me cut my headset off. Let's see. Shango Live. Will the Cowboys make any moves? Share via John Shango. If you're out on my social network or whatever, my wife is sending out crazy happy anniversary stuff, because the day is actually the day we celebrated over the weekend, but the day is actually the day of our wedding anniversary, and it's a good day. It's a good day. If only people that's been married for 13 plus years understands the absolute work involved in that. You don't get it. You want to walk out so many times. But yeah, it's been a good 13. Now let me go to Facebook. Bam. There's more tweets. Hold on for a second. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, this is like somebody's gonna tweet about my anniversary, but there's a lot of stuff in NFL going down. There is a lot of stuff about to go down. You're about to see some weird things. You'll probably see Revis in another uniform. You're definitely gonna see Harrison in a new uniform, maybe even a Raven uniform. Yeah, it's gonna be some crazy things. So I sent everything out. Let me see if we have. If anybody's in the chat, let me know, because I'm jumping over in it right now. Okay, 4 people. So if anybody starts talking, I'll be right here. But let me continue on my inner process with this free agency world right now, because I want to get all of this out. I want to it's going to be a minor. I don't have BITC. You finish it out sessions that much anymore with the Cowboys, but I'm gonna do it just a little bit here at the beginning, and not because, oh my God, they're messing up so bad. It's just it's so hard to understand the focus. It's just so it's hard to imagine that there's actually people there that actually know what they're doing, or actually, I'm gonna take that back. They know what they're doing, but it's hard to see that people there have a plan. Because we listed it, for example, take our defense. We've been told that we had this 4-3 plan for a long time. That we've got the people 4-4-3, but we didn't even consider the move hardly before we hired Rob Ryan. We just looked for 3-4 defensive coaches. We mortgaged so much of our football team. last year with the $50 million corner that we had to restructure this year because the deal was so massive. But a corner that is made for a more aggressive type 3-4 type defense, not 4-3. And we also gave up a ton at the draft to move up to get Morris Claiborne, who is another corner that's built for a 3-4. That's a man cover. So these corners, I'm not saying these corners won't work for what we're doing. These corners will work, but it's not as much emphasis on the corner if you're running a 4-3 defense. So if the planning, if it was in the works so much, why do you invest that much into a different style than you're trying to morph into? So you think about stuff like that, and you see the lack of focus there, and then when you come back, they give you the what do you call it, the spiel, or the Ari Fleischer used to do it, the PR of, oh, we were thinking about doing this for a long time. It fits everything to make you feel all right. Oh, yeah, the corners were, just saying stuff to make you feel all right. But when you look at on the paper, this and this and this was done for this, and now we're moving over to here. Okay, hence, now here's my point where I'm getting to with that. I just wanted to show how we sometimes look like we're not focused on the right thing, and then we try to backtrack and saying, we know what we're doing. It's all good. Now we have free agency this year, and I have no idea it's 1 hour. 1 day, 5 hours and 51 minutes and 15 seconds until free agency starts. And we don't even know if we're under the cap as far as fans. I've heard, I think it was Calvin Watkins that said that we were, I think like 8 million over the cap right now. And I don't know what we can do. I don't know. I mean, somebody put on the board like we can. I think we should have been 11-5 last year and won the NFC East. If we just come back and be healthy, everything is gonna be all right, and we don't need anybody else. And I'm like, yeah, I can get with that. I can definitely get with that. There were certain games that we definitely could have won that we lost if we'd have been focused at certain times, or if Dez's finger would have came down in bounds. There's a whole bunch of ifs that if we did little tweaks, that we could have turned into an 11-5, 12-4 football team and made the playoffs, and then anything could have happened. But there's another side to that coin also. Because when you look at our record and you look back through the teams that we played, you look back and you see that there's a lot of teams that we were right there and we should have won. We really should have won those football games. But then when you look at the other half and the other 8, you're like, whoa, we were lucky to win that one. Man, we got out of that one. Look at that Tampa Bay game. Woo, we barely got out of that one. There was just as many games over here that we could have and should have won. There's games over here that we could have and should have lost. Or vice versa. I think I got it mixed up, but you know what I'm talking about. Which leaves us an average football team at 8-8. So I understand the people that want to go and say it was because of the injuries. As long as we're not hurt, we're going to come back and we're going to be a better football team. I see exactly where you're coming from, but again, if you look at the facts, you'll see that we lost some games when those injured players was out there. You know what I'm saying? So us losing, I think, has to do more with the whole organization than any little players here and there. we might lose a major player here. The only player that we can lose, well, two. The only two player, well, one. The only player I think, this is just probably one, that we could lose where the bottom would fall out of the Cowboys, and that's Tony Romo. If we lost Tony Romo, then there would be no hope, basically. But everybody else is just like they're victims of what's going on in the organization, ill put together organization. So right now, the thing that bothers me right now is free agency, of the not having your stuff together. Okay, let's go into what. Let me check the 14 people watching. Hello, hello everyone. No one in the chat now. Okay. Romo has not been re-signed yet. And I don't think any of us, I don't believe any of us believe, like, even this much, that Romo is not going to be a Cowboy next year. We don't believe it at all. And if you know that you've got to somehow put together some kind of line that can protect this guy, that can give him a little better of a chance next year, that if you restructure his contract, free up some money, then maybe we could get another guard in that could help us out or something like that. Or we could get a position like something in a defensive line, so we wouldn't have to use that pick early. Or we can use it for a safety, so we won't have to use that pick on the first round on the safety, and we can get a offensive tackle maybe, or a guard or something. So right now we don't have any flexibility, right, with Romo. I mean, he needs to, if we're going to keep him, he needs to be signed. If we're not going to keep him, which I don't even think is a remote possibility, but if we're not going to keep him, then we have to make some moves that way, just so we can open ourselves up to being able to make some moves in this draft, to be able to make some move in free agency to close some of these holes. Because when you're saying that you're going to, if you're saying that you're going to keep Romo, like we've been saying since the end of the season, you're still trying to make that shot. You're still trying to get into that Super Bowl. So you can't do that with massive holes in your team like it is in our secondary. And I don't care, and I'm talking about our safety positions. And I don't care what kind of PR you put to the fans or whatever. You've got one guy there that hasn't touched the NFL field yet, Matt Johnson, who's probably slated to start. Him or one of the guys that we picked up last year. And you got Barry Church, who still is an unproven player. Everybody loves him, but they love him for what he's done on the practice field. They loved Andre Holmes for what he done on the practice field. He's got to get out there on the real field. And then also, not only that, he has to prove himself that he can play at that level. He has to get past a serious injury. Same with Matt Johnson. He has to get out there and prove that he can play in NFL first. And then he's got to make sure he can stay healthy with his health problems. So right now we're sitting with a huge hole in our secondary. A huge hole in our secondary. I cut myself. I was hearing myself also. But we have a huge hole in the secondary. The wifey said that right before I started the show. Baby, have a good show. Don't mess up on the audio. Just a slight mess up, but I think we're doing okay. But we have no flexibility at this point when there are LaRon Landry, Kenny Phillips, Adrian Wilson, possibly Ed Reed, Rondé Barber, Charles Woodson, Grover Quinn. He still had Glover Quinn, I guess. There's a lot of free safeties that are a upgrade from Gerald Sensabaugh. And which I said when we released Sensabaugh, I was like, whoa, isn't that the backup plan? Isn't Sensabaugh the player that we're going to put there if the other guys don't work out? And when we got rid of Sensabaugh, I was like, okay, well, if we're going to bring another safety in, he better be better than Sensabaugh or a whole lot cheaper than Sensabaugh and can do what he does. So maybe they see that out of Pepper. Maybe they see that out of Frampton. You know, I'm not sure. I didn't see. I mean, we played soft at safety last year. So I mean, I can't give anyone who is already on this squad that much more props over what Gerald Sensabaugh did. All of them were not that impressive. So there's some guys out there that are better than Sensabaugh, but we are in no position to make a run at them. The second thing is the Anthony Spencer thing. I listened to Ed Werder and I understood what he was talking about with us just letting the player walk and getting nothing back for him. And I get that. And the Cowboys organization didn't want Spencer just to disappear and we get no compensation, no draft picks or anything like that. So we decided to franchise him. Now, I think the franchise number is locked at 10-9. So just think about that. We've got free agency's coming up in 1 hour. I mean 1 day, 5 hours, 41 minutes, and 24 seconds. And we've got $10.9 million going to Spencer, which it could be less if we had re-signed him, or if we do re-sign him, you know, it could be considerably less money. But this year, we're paying him 10-9, and I think Romo's cap number was like 16 something. So it's at least $27 million that could be used tomorrow. Not that much could be used, but Tony Romo could save a lot of money by restructuring. Anthony Spencer could save a lot of money by signing a contract, a long-term contract. Both of them, if you want Romo, if they keep saying they want Romo to be their quarterback for the next 5-6 years, then give him a contract for that and spread that money out and let's get somebody in here to give him some help. Spencer the same way. You say he's under 30 and he's one of the top players at offensive line, outside linebacker, and now he plays defensive end, but he's still a very good player. Then give him a long deal, put him on your defense for the next 5-6 years. Simple. And then you free up money to help now. And this is my problem. Now is when all these decisions are being made for now, for us to try to win now. Keeping Romo, not letting Spencer go. All this kind of stuff is made because we think we can do it now. But then we leave ourselves financially in a situation where we can't even help the now. We have to roll the same thing out that we rolled out last year, basically. I mean, we'll have another first-round draft pick, but so will everybody else. You know, we'll get some people in free agency, but so will someone else. And we'll have to go picking through, which I hate. We'll have to go picking through what every other team didn't want at the end of preseason or at the end of the free agency period, and find who we want. That's the situation we're in right now, and it It doesn't make me feel good. Why aren't they not? Are people leaving comments? Because I can't find them. Let me see. Hello. There's 24 people here now, which is awesome. But I don't see anyone. Let me go to another page here and see if I can see you guys. Because when you when I don't know what you're saying, anything could be happening. I could have been talking to a mute mic this long. There you go. Hey, you're on my what it did. I changed. I see what happened. I changed my people go look at my my YouTube channel. I changed it, and what it did, it took my my live stream of the people that are chatting and put it there. Okay, good. Oh, so a lot of people are chatting here. All right, let me go to the bottom. Kenneth, what's up? 49ers went to the Super Bowl and had 3 first-round picks on the offensive line. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna work down. I'm gonna work at the bottom of the comments, and I'm gonna work all the way to the top with what people are saying. But I'm gonna address Kenneth 14621. He says 49ers went to the Super Bowl and they had 3 first-round draft picks on the offensive line. Well, yeah, that's a system going. That's a system going on there, and they like invested in their offensive line like crazy, and I just want us to realize that that's not a quick fix. They invested in their offensive line and they made them very good. We're still kind of waiting for Tyron to come around and be who he was billed to be. Because to be quite honest, we don't have a top. What was Tyron pick 7, 8? Well, we don't have a top 10 talent right now at offensive tackle, and that's just being frank. He needs to up it. His boy Khalil came in and he rocked things in the NFL. Tyron needs to bring it now. It's time. So it's hard to think that we're going to go through this draft and draft a guard or a center that's going to instantly make everything better immediately. Because that just doesn't happen. Sometimes you just have to invest in the offensive line, and that's what San Francisco did. And don't get me wrong, I want offensive line, but I'm just not expecting them. And I said this over and over with me getting in that argument with the NFL.com writer when he was talking about Tyron being the next elite left tackle before he even took a snap at left tackle. So we just want to give these guys a little chance, let them learn what's going on, and in the meantime, Romo has and like Jerry says, if anything Romo can get past, it's a pass rush. All right, what's up, Master 301000? Cowboy fan 88. Do you think the Doug Free contract is a big mistake? Oh, I thought the Doug Free contract was a big mistake when the Doug Free contract actually happened. The Scandrick too. I thought they both were given too much money for too little of what we had seen of them. And Doug Free was a product of what I hate is this media blitz of Cowboy players that get pumped up like crazy. That you'll go and watch Mark Schlereth or somebody on television. I'm not calling out Mark Schlereth, but I'm just saying the name because that's the first one that came to my head. But you'll watch TV and they'll just sit up there and pump up the player. I mean, I will call out Chris Collinsworth because he does it more than anything else in the world. But they'll pump up our players and pump up our players when sometimes they're just a serviceable or a good player in NFL. But then we'll think that, oh, we have something special because everybody's talking about this guy on TV. So we'll throw a whole bunch of money at him, and that is basically what happened in the Free situation and why he got so much money. So now we're still figuring out what we're going to do with Free. Are we going to move him inside and get another offensive tackle in the draft? And that's what I said. I said earlier, I would only move up in the draft to get an offensive tackle, one of those 3. And anyone else, I'll just wait for everything to fall down. All right, but I do think Doug was mistaken. I do think we will probably continue to make that same type mistake. We could be making it. We could be making it right now with Anthony Spencer. He's getting pumped up like crazy with free agency. He had a great, outstanding season last year, but the years before, you know, it was just up and down, up and down. So now we're gonna pay him like, you know, he's been playing consistently at this level, you know, for the last 4 years or so. And will that be too much? Maybe, maybe. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for tweeting me early this morning when I was getting the show together. Jerry Jones is a definition of hit or miss. He doesn't go and get what we necessarily need, but instead the popular choice. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it hits a home run and it's genius. Daniel, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And I said that so many times that that Jerry Jones basically addresses whatever, and I'm pointing to my television, whatever they're saying. Last year they were saying it was all the secondary, all the corners. I heard it so much. The corners. Our corners are so bad. It was T-New. Everything was on them. And what we did is we totally revamped the corners. I mean, spent a whole. I've been through it in the show already. A whole bunch of money on getting 2 new corners because that was what, you know, everybody, as far as fan base, as far as media on television. What's wrong with the Cowboys? Well, they had problems with that secondary. They've got to fix that secondary. That secondary is not very good. You heard it over and over and over. So, since we heard it so much from people, then it must be our secondary. And also, Daniel, another thing that we look at a lot is the stats. We'll justify something in a heartbeat for stats and make a wrong decision there. So he is the definition of hit or miss. Sometimes it's dead on, like the Mo Clay situation. It's still Mo Clay could be one of the best things that happened for us, and it could be horrible. Right now, we still don't know, which is not, in my opinion, when a person plays an entire year and you still are like, I don't know, he did well, he did good, he did okay. It seems like that's that kind of player that you're going to have. You know what I'm saying? If you have someone who might be a star, you'll see glimpses of just greatness. Like, boom, boom, whoa, this dude could be something special. So right now, Mo still could be something special. But after a year of just average play, or above average play, he might level off at that above average play and never reach, you know, that craziness. So it could have been the greatest move going up to get Mo, and it might not turn out to be a great move. So you're right, he's hit or miss as it gets. Master said, I say you trade for picks and see what you can do. Yeah. Daniel, Sean Lee, DeMarco Murray, others are complete mess, and all of Dallas hates him. All right, let me read through some of these. It's Jerry. That boy Hub says it's Jerry's world and we just live in it. I was trying to make some kind of skit video because I'm thinking of some videos to do because I hadn't done any funny videos on my site in a while. But it's something about us living inside of a man's head that we don't know what's going on. So that's good. Saying it's Jerry's world and we just live inside of it, which is it's a crazy place to live. All right, there goes hello. Let me refresh. The only thing I hate is I have to refresh this thing every time I want to see you guys or talk to you. G. Gaddis, trade Romo, Ware, Written, etc., and start the rebuild, or we'll be stuck as a bubble team. Stuck. You know what? I'm starting to think it's going to be worse than that, Jay Gaddis. Again, I'm going to read the comment again. Jay Gaddis says, trade Romo, Ware, Witten, etc., and start the rebuild, or we will be stuck as a bubble team to make the playoffs. Yes, I agree. I agree. I think that we are sitting on the possibility that we might make it to the Super Bowl one of these years. And the window has like maybe 2 or 3 more years in it. So we're stuck on, maybe we'll win the Super Bowl one of these years. But when you think of the salary cap situation and how far we were over the cap, and then in like a matter of a few days went underneath the cap by restructuring just about everybody's contract. When you restructure those contracts, you push the money. And you give them, and you up the bonuses. And what that really means is we're reinvesting in you. So you got Miles Austin, who, a lot of the fan base won't cut, not me. I want Miles in the slot. I want Dez, Harris, and Miles in the slot. So if he's here, he gives us a great upgrade. If he's not, he's not. But they restructured Miles. Today they're going to restructure probably Ratliff, who, just think about that. We're going to restructure Ratliff's contract and push more money to the back end of the contract, give him more bonus money. And we don't know if Rat is done. We don't know. So you're actually reinvesting in a player when you really, if you're honest with yourself, and if you look at the tape, you look at what he's done in the last few years compared to what he's done in the previous years, it calls for some concern. Rob Ryan said the defense is a totally different defense when Jay Ratliff is out there, and I totally believe that. There's nothing, I totally believe that. But how long is he out there? And what is he when he's out there? How often can he give that high motor 100% like Rat likes to give? So we're reinvesting in him. We're gonna reinvest in those guards that you guys didn't like. McKenzie and Livings. You didn't like. When they came here, I blew my stack. I think I really blew my stack. I will find the video. But when they came here, I really blew my stack because I'm like, if the next season and they remained on their team, Livings wouldn't be starting with the Bengals, and McKenzie wasn't starting for the Panthers. 2 teams that we feel are not as good as us. So why do we pick players that they didn't even want off their offensive line, give them a lot of money, and think it's going to work in Dallas just because it's Dallas? So now we're reinvesting in those guys also because we gave them so much money last year. And all this money is going to have to be paid. When you make it, like I've said it before, when you make it with bonus money, the player is going to get that money. So with me, I agree with you. I would have done it probably a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, to be honest with you. But trade Romo, Ware, Witten, etc., and start the rebuild process. We'll be stuck as a bubble team. I totally agree. It's time to get some youth in here. It's time to go through a lot of players to get the players that you know that can fit your system and things like that. Oh, and you got to get a system that you're going to stick with. I'm not going to be negative this year because there's really not anything to be negative about. There's nothing to be mad at this year. Hey guys, who is the guy in the draft that you're hoping to get? 98 Impreza 515. I'm gonna deal in the draft a little bit more later. But like I said, as I sit right now and I look at what's going on with the draft, I only want Jokel, Lane Johnson, or Eric. I can't think of Eric's last name right now. But the other tackle. Those are the only guys that if they fall, oh my God, if they fall to 18, but they're not going to fall past the top 10, or probably before that. But if we were to move up to get somebody, I would want one of those guys. I'd want one of those guys to book in with Tyron, and then let's get this offense put together. It's just, those are just the most expensive people to find. And when you have some guys, especially like Lane Johnson and Eric, well, I can't think of his last name, but when you have two guys like that that's highly athletic, that can do the stuff that Jason Garrett likes to do on offense and sweeps and stuff like that, and can get out and move. And then also, if we morph into this read option with a more athletic quarterback after Romo, we'll still have the tackles for that. That could move, you know, sideways and get out and lead block and pull and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I want an offense, one of those offensive linemen. I don't believe in getting guards and centers early. I just don't. I mean, you can get those late. I think the only offensive line position that's worth a top 18 pick is a left tackle. I really do. ACTX81. What do you think about drafting Keating Vaccaro in the first round? I've looked at Vaccaro. I've just started looking at Vaccaro. I hadn't looked completely into him, but from what I've seen at the combine and from footage that I've watched on YouTube, he just hadn't stood out for me. He hasn't. I mean, I don't know. You can see him on tape. He moves well. He's kind of rangy or whatever, but he just doesn't have any pop when he hits people. He doesn't seem like he's that great of a ball hawk. I've got to look at the stats from that, but he caught one interception and he was bobbling. It wasn't a fluid, you know how Ed Reed comes out of nowhere and just, you know what I'm saying? He's not that type of ball hawk. So for me, spending a first rounder on a safety, he's got to have some kind of super skill. You know, like an Ed Reed, like a ball hawk like Ed Reed, or a super thumper like LaRon Landry was, or something like that. You have to have something special that you can really, if you hone that skill, it will be a game changer. And I just don't see that in Vaccaro. I don't see it. Maybe I would if I look harder, and trust me, I'm going to look harder because safety is going to be a serious position that we have to fill. And it doesn't look like we're going to be able to fill it during free agency. So we'll definitely see about that. Dennis Cooper asked the same thing about Vaccaro. Daniel, I'm gonna watch Romo. I'm gonna read Daniel Ken Guider's comment. The one thing that has me thinking about the O-line is Romo. Most of his magic comes when being pressured out of the pocket. Is it crazy to think that Romo thrives of being hurried? You know what? Me and wifey call, actors and people who are doing stuff that they do the best, and they get to do something that you do the best. You're in your pocket. You're in the pocket, And I like to use that term a lot. And with Romo, his comfort area is when he's scrambling and extending the play. Sometimes it even looks like he does it when he doesn't even need to do it. But it seems like that is his strength. If we, got the 5 best offensive linemen in the league and created the Great Wall of China, I love saying that, for Romo in the back, and turn him into a progression type quarterback, I don't think Romo would succeed at all. At all. I think his strength is running away from people extending the play and throwing the ball downfield. That's just so. Yeah, he does make all his plays like that, but I don't think you can change him into any. It's kind of similar to changing Michael Vick into a pocket quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Michael Vick, it was just a hard thing, you know. And when he does it, he doesn't even look right. I mean, you can sit there and you can't even visualize Tony Romo in a pocket making reads like a Peyton Manning does. Tony Romo's two things: he gets you on a kill, point, and with a quick pass like that, or he gets you when he's running from people and he sees something and he throws the ball down the field. But when you have the structure of hike, drop back 7 steps, look at 1, look at 2, look at 3, and go back to 2. No, none of that. I don't even know if that was a real read. I just did that. But you don't see that type of action, and you don't see that type of process from Tony Romo. Let's see. Oh, yeah, got a lot of people saying stuff in here. 81 Singleton says Ratliff has definitely declined in previous years, but the 4-3 would lighten up physical punishment he'd have to take. Yeah, I agree. That 81 Singleton, I was wanting to screaming at, and I think you've been here a while. You've seen me scream in the early years. I mean, way back when Wade was here, to get Rat out of that nose tackle position. What are you people doing? He's taking a pounding there, so he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be taking that pounding anymore. Well, not that much of a pounding anymore, but still, you know, what does he have left? Oh yeah, you're right. Trey Witten, no, Witten is the only guy. Thank you for straightening me out, Core Clan P. Witten dies Cowboy. Period. Out of all these people on this team, Witten dies Cowboy. Maybe Ware, but Witten definitely dies Cowboy. Sorry. Daniel said, "Don't be surprised if Jerry moves up the draft by trading Anthony Spencer." I know, yeah. Moving from 18 to 6 and sending Anthony Spencer, or moving up and I can see that moving up to the Saints pick by giving them our pick and Anthony Spencer. Jeez. Yeah, Jay Gadnis said Jake Gadnis says trade Witten because he thinks he deserves a chance at the Super Bowl because he won't be winning one with the Cowboys anytime soon. I don't care. Jason Witten has given blood for the Cowboys way too much. I know Tony Romo has to or whatever, and other people have, but Jason Witten's just a different type person. I just want him to keep him. I just want to keep a human being like Jason Witten. I want to keep near the Cowboys organization forever. I can't be wrong. You can't be wrong by doing stuff like that. Oh yeah, Master asked me off topic. Asked me about March Madness, and I really am not an expert on college basketball since I moved to the West Coast. I grew up in the hotbed of the ACC. When I was a kid, Ralph Sampson, Michael Jordan came through North Carolina at the perfect time in my life when I first got into college sports. So I watched Michael Jordan play when he was a freshman all the way in his entire life. So basketball and ACC basketball and college basketball is really, really, really close to me. But when I moved out here to the West Coast, I can't get into them. I can't get into this Pac-10 stuff. I can't get into it. So it just like separated me. The only thing that was good is the Cowboys was always somewhere away from me. It wasn't close to me. It wasn't in my local, sports life. So when I moved around the country as much as I did, I still stayed as solid with the Cowboys all my life. And that's why I have been on the internet and created the Shango, the Stone Thrower alias a long time ago, because I've been in the internet with Cowboy fans from when Al Gore invented the internet, actually, from the start of it. Zach Tor. In the unlikely scenario that Dallas were to trade Romo, what kind of picks do you think Dallas would get for him in return? With everyone doubting his play at the most crucial time, any good trade anyhow? I think there's some teams that would do backflips to get Tony Romo. Arizona would give up so much to get Tony Romo. So it depends on the team. Yes, some teams will probably think that, and the way he's melting in crucial times and not making that kind of decision. But if you think of teams that are pretty good but need a quarterback that can put some points, so I mean, just think of the New York Jets with Romo. You know what I'm saying? The Cardinals with Romo. The Rams, because Bradford's not doing that great. I mean, there's so many teams out there that if they had a Romo, then their fate would be our fate when you have a quarterback like Romo, and that is, you're not going to be horrible. Every year you're going to have some sort of chance, but when he'll get you to 8-8, but after the 8-8, whatever happens, happens. What's up, Terrence Cartwright? Morning to you too, man. I feel the boys would target a running back in the draft. Most fans wants to target one in free agency. What are your thoughts? Honestly, I think running back is the easiest thing to get. I really do. Unless you see a running back that completely fits your scheme like perfectly. For instance, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush is getting a lot of looks right now because Reggie Bush will fit in some people's offensive game plan completely. Just think about him in New England, or there's places where Reggie Bush, or Green Bay. My gosh, please don't let that happen. But there are some running backs that really do have some kind of value like that they can take advantage of in free agency. But I believe that if you do your homework on draft day, you can get one in the third, fourth round. If you do your homework in free agency, you can find one out there that somebody they had to cut, and you can bring them in, and you can let them work in your offense. I love Dunbar at training camp, but I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna like the air pad. I don't think we can go into the game depending on Dunbar. So we definitely need someone that we'll be able to depend on coming in the game. We won't be able to do. Murray won't be there every game. I'm just sure of that almost. But we need somebody that's going to come in, that's going to be able to play, and it's going to be able to produce at a high level when Murray's gone. Kenneth brought up a good thing. Kenneth said, Romo's got to roll out. He can't see over the line. And I try to tell people that when we got, who was it? Leonard Davis. Again, the focusing. I was like, when you have one of the shorter quarterbacks in the league, why do you go get one of the tallest offensive guards in the league? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then I said the same thing about Canty, about why would you let someone that tall go and stand in front of your short little quarterback? Makes no sense. But yeah, Romo does have some height issues, I would say. Jose Medel says, I feel if Romo doesn't sign an extension, he will play well. To think about it, he has never had any pressure that he would lose his job. I say let him play his final year and see what we can do. I don't have any problems with that. Only thing I have is that I want that cap number down so we can get somebody to help him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the organization, if we were still in if the organization was still in evaluation mode, like you're insinuating right there, then yeah, that's a great option. But I don't think the organization is in evaluation mode. I think the organization is totally sold on Tony Romo and want to bring Tony Romo back. So if they're totally sold on Tony Romo and want to bring Tony Romo back, why are you not signing him? I mean, his number. I mean, Joe Flacco's number. Hopefully he's getting signed right now, and I'm just talking. But you see what Joe Flacco's number is. So you can't go. You really can't go over that. You can try to get close to that number, but as far as Dallas, you're not in a position to bargain. You done told the whole world this is going to be our guy for the next few years. You hadn't even given any options to the agent to come down off their asking price. So what you're going to have to do, you're just going to have to pay it. You're going to have to pay it. Because if you pay it, you lower his immediate salary, his this year's salary down, and you open up the opportunity for us to be able to go out there and get some more players to help this guy in his last few years to get to the Super Bowl. So I mean, I'd like to see in a perfect world, I'd like to see a scenario where Tony Romo doesn't sign and plays out the contract, and then at the end of the contract we make an intelligent decision. But it just that's just not how it's going to play out. I mean, they've committed to the guy, and they need to get the guy some help. All right, let's go. We got some more people. Zach told me good morning. Also, thank you. Thank you. I'm having I'm having so much fun with these shows. I've been, like I said before, I've been working out in the professional work for the past 2 years, and I've been, just checking in on the Cowboys and making sure I know everything that's going on. But right now, I'm going back to how I was a couple of years ago, where I'm going deep inside of everything that's going on, and it feels so good because you just got to know everything. And once you know everything, you'll have a better grasp on your football team. And that's awesome. All right, but let's be honest. What is it really going to take to pull our beloved Cowboys past this heartbreaking mediocrity every single year? Zach Tor. What is it really going to take to pull our beloved Cowboys past this heartbreaking mediocrity every single year? And he puts, ugh. I don't know, man. That's why I am in the camp of blowing up, finding the smartest football people that you can find walking on this earth, giving them the franchise, and letting them go and start grinding out talent to fit the system that they want to put together. But right now, we're just in a ragtag Band-Aid type organization that will self-evaluate its own problems and then just put a Band-Aid on it and come back out like they fixed everything. And it just... I just don't... It's been a couple of years now that I don't see a real clear future for our Dallas Cowboys. I really don't, and I wish I did, but I really don't see a clear, distinct future. I see us paying a lot of money to these contracts. I see a lot of aging players. I see us without the ability to go out there and get any more good players, and it looks like a recipe to disaster. I mean, organizational disaster. And we were here before. Before Bill Parcells came to town. And people want to talk about Parcells and say, well, he didn't win the playoffs or all that kind of stuff. He built an organization. He really, really did. and the team was built in a certain way, which taught me a lot. I mean, I used to go out there and in training camp, and Dat Win was my favorite player. Dat Win was I still had Dat's jersey. He might be listening to the show. Hey, Dat, how's it going? He tweeted me. Dat Win tweeted me, but I still got his jersey in there. And Dexter Coakley from South Carolina, from my area, and those were my guys. I loved them. I loved watching them play. They were so athletic or whatever. But Bill Parcells came to town, and he had a philosophy about linebackers. And a philosophy about players that he liked them big. And the reason why he liked them big is because if you keep hitting something smaller over and over, it's not going to take that much out of you. But when you have to hit something big over and over, no matter how good that big thing is, but when you have to hit that big thing over and over, it takes more out of you. So I would see, Big Canty come in and Big Ware. Ware's a big boy for a linebacker. Now he just average size for a defensive end, but he was a big boy for a linebacker. But you see Rat, and you see all these bigger guys coming through, than was there before. And I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. And you see a whole style of football that was put together. We need to do that. Because right now we have no style. We just changed again from 3-4 to 4-3, which was being planned a long time ago. Even though we drafted Cal Wilbur, a 3-4 clearly a 3-4 linebacker. We spent a whole bunch of money on cover corners instead of 4-3 corners and all that kind of stuff. We were in plans for the 4-3, even though we made all those adjustments for 3-4. So right now, it just doesn't seem like we have the structure in place to be able to build from. And that's personally what I think we need. I think we need a young, type football mind, maybe from the college ranks or someone like that. Get his philosophy of how he wants to play football and put that thing together. We started doing that with Jason Garrett. I saw it clear. I saw Jason Garrett clearly trying to put together his football team the way he wants it run. He just wasn't ready, in my opinion. Is he ready now? Has he learned enough in the last couple of years? We don't know, but it's a possibility. Coaching is a learned thing. You don't come out, like you come out as a running back as a coach. You know what I'm saying? You learn stuff, and if he's a smart guy, maybe he's learned from his stuff or whatever. But it has to be something that's going to have to be built from the ground up to fix what we've got going on right now. Otherwise, I have no idea. I'm just a spectator. I'm watching Jerry Jones work. I'm not overly critiquing it. I'm not calling him stupid. I'm not doing anything but watching it and just seeing what happens, because I have no idea what the plan is. I have no idea what they're doing. I have no idea what the future is going to look like. I'm lost. Maybe they have a plan to get themselves out of this situation in a few years if these players that we're investing in now don't pan out or whatever. I just don't know. I'm in wait-and-see mode, and I love my Cowboys. That's as far as I can go. Long Live Crow said, push that reset button. Amen. Jose Medel said, about Romo rolling out. He can take a deeper drop back. This is coming from a quarterback who played with the O-line 2 years older than him. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Our offensive line isn't good, but I can't just put everything on that. There's other offensive lines where quarterback in the league that quarterbacks operate behind. It's just that he's a certain type quarterback, and you just have to build an offensive line that's going to work with him. Or like Jerry says, if he's going to take off out of that pocket and run, then use the money elsewhere. You can't. What he said, you can't have everything. But I just think Romo he just presents that's my personal issues with him as a quarterback, is that I just don't think he's that progression type quarterback. I think that that he's going to roll out that pocket. He's going to look downfield. He's going to extend plays, and that's pretty much the extent of what Tony Romo is going to give you. He's not going to give you stuff like Andrew Luck is going to give you. He's just not. I think if Romo doesn't sign an extension, it'll be a disaster. The cap would be destroyed, and Dallas media would be killing him every week. Yeah. RVDTI 2 for life says, I think if Romo doesn't sign an extension, it is a disaster. It will destroy the cap. It will destroy the Dallas media because they would be killing Romo every week. If Romo doesn't doesn't sign an extension, it will hurt our cap. Yes, tremendously. Not tremendously. 7, 8, 9 mil extra on the cap. And then it'd be too much. I mean, every week it would be so many questions about will Romo come back, and I mean, if you ask me, Romo has enough to try to play under. His reputation and the things he's done in the past and all that kind of stuff. He's got enough. If you're gonna put that on him, and you see he hasn't excelled with that stuff on his head, you're gonna put more stuff on his head. Not a fan. At this point, I'm not a fan of not signing Romo. All right, I'm about to wrap the show up in just a few. Let me go through these last comments really quickly. Do I think Daniel asked, do I think Dez solidified himself as a top tier receiver? Yes, he has. Master says blow that crap up. Drafting well and managing the cap well. Yeah, that's stuff we're not doing well though. I wish that we could draft well and manage the cap well. Shango, I think you should be hired as general manager because so you have more. You know what? I used to say, no, I can't do it. No. I would love to be a general manager. I would love to be a general manager. You know why? Because I would go and I would find the smartest people. I would talk to everybody that even holds a football in their hands professionally, from the coaching ranks to the owners and whatever. I would talk to everyone and find the smartest person out there, hire them, and listen to them. The game, it's kind of like the internet. It evolves. The game evolves. And like for instance, I used to be the man on the internet in 2003, 2004, a little bit of 2005. Maybe 2004, 2006, in the area. I knew I used to tell people that I have traveled to every corner of the internet and I have searched the whole entire thing. Then I stepped away for a minute, was doing other things, making money, living, and come back and I don't know as much anymore. And it's because it's evolving, it keeps moving, and it keeps changing. What worked yesterday ain't gonna work tomorrow. And that's kind of like the NFL. With all these new young guys coming up with new ideas and new twists on stuff that they learned years ago. And I'm like, whoa. What did you say now? That might work. And you'll stay ahead of the game. You'll stay innovative. That's what we did with Jimmy. We brought in a young mind that knew what he was doing and let him execute his plan. And I would do that as general manager. I wouldn't go and think I knew more than my coaches on a linebacker and tell them, oh, you need this linebacker because I like him and he'll get more sacks. No, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. You go to your coach and you and your football people and you make a decision together. I'm tired of being broke and making bad decisions. I know. I want to have some good. Yeah, RVD. It would be so great just to wake up in like the New England Patriots situation, cap wise and draft wise. Wouldn't it? That would just be awesome. I don't like Garrett. No, I think Garrett can be a good head coach in the future. I just didn't think he was ready when we gave him the job. I just thought it was just like it was too soon, and it really looked like it to us also. What's up, Cal? Cal said, I really think Dallas should sign a free agent wide receiver that can play on the outside. And Dez and or Miles become injured. I like Beaston or Doucette. Don't know if Harris has a side. You know what? I was thinking about that, Cal, because I said it earlier. I want Dez, Harris, Miles in the slot, because I've always said over and over and over and over, Miles is a perfect slot receiver. He will run a perfect route. He will find spots in zones. He's a great slot in my opinion. The Harris playing outside, you just say he doesn't because he's kind of short, but he did work out there. And then every time he got the ball in his hands, something happened. Something really happened. So I really, and he's consistent as far as injury. So I'm really thinking that we should give him a strong look in training camp and a strong look in preseason, and put him out there at that number 2 opposite of Dez. And if he can toe the line, if he can do that, if he can play it, put him over there. Put Miles in the slot. When Miles is there for us, we are close to unstoppable. I like me some Dwayne Harris. I really do. Master says 9 years of disappointment with the I think he's talking about the Leafs. The Maple Leafs have taught me anything. Rebuild earlier because waiting sucks. Yeah, it's the thing. You have to rebuild on time. You have to do it when and I thought the time for us to rebuild was like a year or 2 years ago. You have to do it on time, or you could get yourself in a really bad situation where it takes longer. For instance, look at the Indianapolis rebuilding process, and put that against our rebuilding process when we're going through Quincy Carter and all that kind of stuff with the 5 and 11 seasons. Indy just cleaned house, cleaned out a much better quarterback than Tony Romo. Probably the quarterback that's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, if he gets some Super Bowls. But they dumped him in a whole bunch of old contracts, older players or whatever, got way under the cap. They're so far under the cap, it's pitiful. So now in free agency, they can just go around and give people good money. If they see somebody they really need that's perfect for what they do, they can give them a little bit more money. But they're in perfect shape then. Then the draft, they loaded up on picks, and I mean, they got a quarterback and 2 tight ends, like, off the bump. Perfect. I mean, so if you plan out your rebuilding, it might not take long, and it didn't take the Colts long, but we let our team deteriorate with Troy Aikman and Urban. We let that team deteriorate because we were still trying to win one. Jerry did not want to release the fact that we were not going to win the Super Bowl, so we would spend 2 first-round picks on Joey Galloway. We would do all kind of stuff just to mess our future up, because Jerry Jones was convinced that right now was the time. And right now, he still thinks that we can do this right now. So as long as he thinks that, there's not going to be a rebuilding process, because I think in his mind, that's us giving up. And it's not. It's us gearing up. Oh, 9 new comments. All right, the rest of these comments, guys, I'm gonna read and answer on the site. But thank you, guys. Look like a lot of people were here today. I appreciate it. I went like 10 minutes over, but that's okay. YouTube doesn't mind, and we'll be ready, because this week a lot of stuff is going to happen. A lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of activity starting probably right now. It's probably going on during this show. So just stay tuned with the Cowboys. I'll be right here for any major moves or major things that happen. I'll cut on the camera and I'll talk it through with you. So thanks for coming by, and I'll holler at you later, people. All right, peace.